then on Kenya's blackouts. Kenya Power saying it has restored power to several parts of the country after a nationwide outage that disrupted supply on Thursday. Now, the power utility says electricity will be restored to the remaining affected areas in Nairobi, as well as the coastal region, as restoration efforts still continue there. The East African nation last experienced major blackouts in September and December of 2024. For an update on this, we're now joined on the line by our correspondent in Kenya, Alex Kiarie. Alex, a very good afternoon to you. I mean, just give us then a sense of what the very latest is in terms of restoration of electricity across Kenya, but particularly those regions that have power now.
Good afternoon, and as you just indicated, last evening we had a major power outage between around 9 p.m. and it lasted in some parts of the country, especially Nairobi and Kiambu County, Central Region, where power was restored at past midnight local time. And as we speak right now, there are still some areas within Nairobi County or Nairobi's capital city which are still experiencing blackouts. This was very much unexpected, and so many Kenyans have been speculating on what really could have been the reason. And just like it did in 2024, when such major power blackouts were reported, actually were three, but this was quite unexpected. And as we speak, some parts of coast region are yet to be restored. Power is yet to be restored. Parts of Nairobi, as indicated, and also parts of central Kenya and parts of the Rift Valley region where the president happens to be from. And so much anger, speculations, and we're expecting that the head of state is going to talk about this thing today when he's expected to be addressing the nation on his development agenda. Over to you.
When you look at the fact that Kenya supplies more than 9.6 million customers, I mean, I can imagine the concern. What has Kenya Power said up to this point, particularly in terms of what has caused this widespread outage? I mean, you also reference what we've said earlier on in the fact that the last time Kenyans particularly had seen blackout to such a scale was in September and December of 2024.
According to the local supply of electricity, that's the Kenya Power and Lighting Company, they just explained that they were experiencing technical hitch which caused this blackout in mostly coastal region, Nairobi, central Kenya, Rift Valley. Only actually the parts of northern Kenya which have been having erratic power supply, and western Kenya were on the grid. And that's the far as they could explain, because we were expecting some more detailed explanation on what exactly happened, but this has not been forthcoming. And this is actually one of the reasons why Kenyans are really angry, and they're expecting some more detailed explanation, because as we know, Kenyan power supply is dependent on what they call clean energy, which is from the geothermal power supplies. But we also depend on supplies from Ethiopia and also from the neighboring Uganda, which have been blamed before. Whenever there are technical hitches on those lines, have been blamed for the similar power blackouts, but not to this scale. And we are just waiting to see what Kenya Power says beyond what they just explained about the technical hitch, as they did yesterday.
And very quickly, as we let you go, you are, of course, saying that some areas are yet to be restored. I'm wondering then how much damage or disruption have been caused at airports, even government offices and schools.
No, luckily, in most of the affected areas, this happened during the night. But we know that the electricity supply in the JKIA was interrupted partially, but they later on went to the backup, which is the generators. But in most government offices, we know that it was not so much, because it happened just after working hours. But the major concern was the security threat, because the country was completely off the grid. And we know that there are so many areas, including our own internet supply, was disrupted due to this. And many are wondering still what could have happened, because we have also had reports of some homes or some homeowners reporting power surges which damaged their home appliances. So the economic scale of all this is still not yet known, and we expect this to emerge as the days go on, and as the more and more reports emerge from various parts of the country. But so far, we are expecting mostly the president to speak about it in his address this later on this evening from 7 p.m. local time.
Hopefully, he will give some answers to the many questions that nationals have in Kenya. Alex, thank you so much for that. Of course, our correspondent in Kenya, Alex Kiarie, there for us. All right, so let's continue then to this. The race to choose the next